Well, we are live for the news review segment on the AM show. Folks, welcome aboard. Now, let me quickly introduce our guests to you this morning, and then we'll get right down to business. Joining us via Zoom is Dr. Wisdom Dogbe. He's a financial analyst. Wisdom Dogbe, good morning to you. He's joining us via Zoom.
Sweetie, how are you?
I'm fantastic. It's good to hear your voice. And in the studio with me this morning is Kwame Nkrumah Bosio. He's the General Secretary of the CPP. Welcome aboard. And Bernard Odonyako, I haven't met you before. He's the leading member of the, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's campaign team. Welcome to the AM show. This is the news review segment. Right, so we have three gentlemen ready to dissect and bisect the stories captured in the various newspapers. Of course, I'll start by asking you all to give us your 2-minute take. Walk us through your trail of thoughts. Let me start via Zoom with Wisdom Dogbe. What's on your mind this morning?
Sweetie, I read an article about a debt burden that is threatening development in poor countries. And I think this is spot on to say that the mounting debt faced by poor countries, including those in Africa, this is significantly hindering our development goals and also our overall economic progress. And when we talk about this, we should ask ourselves the question, in the case of poor African countries, what are the causes of this debt? We are so blessed with so many natural resources that if properly harnessed, we should not be in so much debt. But that's not the case. The problem is that for most of these poor countries, we are terrible at economic management. We sometimes have ineffective fiscal policies, a mismanagement of resources, and lack of transparency and accountability. This is how we end up with unsustainable borrowing practices. Of course, there are, and there would always be external shocks. But we can do something about our preparedness for these shocks. Unfortunately, we don't. We over-rely on foreign aid, and our policies are not always the best. Such that we don't do well with exchange rate markets.
Right.
Often dealing with depreciation of the local currency. Interest rates are always too high, and there is persistent trade deficit, which forces us to borrow to finance imports, which, in my opinion, I think it creates a cycle of debt that is difficult to escape. But there is a solution, Sudi.
I want to find out from you, in your expert opinion, what do you think it would take for us to break out of this cycle then? What do you think?
Improve, we can start with fiscal management. We need to strengthen fiscal policies and budgetary practices to enhance transparency and accountability and efficient use of resources, which I think we need that to minimize the need for excessive borrowing.
Right.
And then we need to also diversify the economy and reduce dependency on single or few commodities or sectors. We also need to strengthen our institutions, Sweetie, to reduce corruption and improve management of public finances. And lastly, let's find a way to build an economy that will be resilient to external shocks, such as establishing contingency funds or insurance mechanisms that can provide some kind of a financial support during crisis.
Wow, thank you so much, Wisdom Dogbe. Kwame Nkrumah, what's on your mind this morning?
I have a number of things on my mind, but top of my list is the direction of today's youth. Because this is a week where we had the driving accident incident at East Legon.
Yeah.
We have the gang rape by 8 boys at Impraiso Senior High School. And fortunately, I also saw a video where the youth of Attah were telling the various parties what they expect from the government. I think that the direction of this election should be about the youth. There's a lot of problems in society regarding the youth. There's a lot of loss of hope. It even ties in with what Doc is saying. Because where is the hope? Where is this country going? With $259 million debt at Sunon Asogli, which resulted in us having Dumso last night. You know, the youth have lost hope. No wonder they are acting in such terrible
What's your
ways.
strategy from the CPP? What do you intend to do differently to change the status?
The CPP has always been youth-oriented. If you look at our history, we had the youth brigade. There were so many activities to engage the youth. It wasn't just a party. At a point, people were saying it's a party for old men. But if you look at the CPP of old and the CPP now, it has come back to its roots. At a point, because of the proscription of CPP, that is the banning of CPP, it was difficult for us to carry out our activities.
Do you think that the CPP now has positioned itself to be appealing to the youth? Is it very youth-oriented as we speak?
The CPP is very youth-oriented. Okay. Even our running mate, he's in his 40s.
Okay.
And our flag bearer, as much as she is not in her 40s, she's a very youthful person, very youth-oriented. And even if you look at the current crop of aspirants that we submitted to go to Parliament,
right,
majority of them are in their 30s.
Okay.
So it's a very youth-oriented party. And we are going back to our roots. When Kwame Nkrumah, Kojo Botsio, Gbedema, Kesley Hayford, and all those, they were all in their 30s and 40s.
Okay, I'll give you 30 more seconds to wrap on your take for us.
And also, another thing that came to mind is the call by His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo for Bawumia and Mahama to have a debate.
Yeah.
We feel that we should go beyond that. Our flag bearer, Nana Akosua Frimpong Sapon Kumankuma, she's very competent, very capable, and she's ready to debate whether Mahama or Bawumia any day for now. Any day.
Well noted. So when the time comes, we'll remember that she should also be on that panel. Bernard,
hi.
What's on your mind this morning?
Okay, first of all, let me say a very good morning to you and our viewers and my brother here. I think this is the very first day I'm meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, so going straight forward, I think first on my list will be peace. We should know and then appreciate the peace that we are enjoying in this country. And then some and most of us have traveled across the globe, and we are seeing what is happening out there. And then what we are enjoying here, we should put more priority on that. So we encourage the government, we help them, we push them, we support them to keep pushing for us to enjoy the peace that we are enjoying today. Under the leadership of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia. Secondly, we should respect. Respect is one thing that I think every Ghanaian should cherish so much. Because lately you will see young Ghanaians out there issuing threats, abusive words, a whole lot of stuff coming from diaspora within, and I think it is un-Ghanaian. When we were growing up, we weren't seeing such things, but today it has become one thing that...
Is it more of a deviation from what you think is the Ghanaian orientation, or is it just the era where young people are not afraid to express themselves anymore?
I would go by deviating. We are deviating from our core base. Because, when we were kids, we had, neighbors, the communities that we used to live in. Your mom would cook, they would bring me some. My mom would cook, they'll bring you some. And it was kind of, things that we all enjoying. But when I go out and I wrong in the society, your mom can, put me on the right track, save to you. But today, I don't think your mom can do the same to me or can do the same to someone else there.
Yeah, because now we know better. There's abuse. There are laws that protect children. You cannot just whip someone's child in town because you don't know what condition the child is in and all that. And I think about respect. Yes, I agree with you that we should be respectful people, respect ourselves, respect the country, respect the citizens. But when you say respect and then you link it to the expressiveness of people these days, that we refuse to be mute when things are going wrong, I disagree a bit.
Very well, that's fine. Okay, so let me ask you this. When you are telling me that you're expressing yourself, and then you can issue threat to our leaders, insult them, you understand? We've been seeing on social media, people will be sitting outside and insulting leaders within, just that they feel they are not doing their things right here. Okay. You understand? That's what I'm talking about.
So we should use temperate language.
Exactly, that's what I'm trying to talk about.
Expressiveness.
Exactly, and then honestly, we need to be, we need to face facts.
Okay.
That's it.
Let's start with the newspaper review. I'll start with the Daily Graphic. On the front page, Obuasi Tech wins 2024 STEM Innovation Contest. Tame greed, stop Galamsey, Central Regional Minister Justina Marigold-Aston says. Abysmal Black Stars need rescue. I wonder who's come to rescue us now after 42 years trophy drought. And multi-pronged strategy required to address declining oil production. I think they have a meeting today or tomorrow to see or to proffer solutions on how we can nip it in the bud. Let me start from here. Abysmal Black Stars needing rescue. Sleeping giant, Ghana, is teetering on the edge of an embarrassing exit from Africa's premier football tournament for the first time in 2 decades. As the Black Stars 2025 Africa Cup of Nations, as the AFCON qualification campaign is in tatters, with just 2 points from the maximum 12 points, the Black Stars are currently languishing in 3rd place in Group F behind Angola, who booked their tickets last Tuesday, and coach Kwesi Appiah's Sudan, who need just a point in their last 2 games against whipping boys Niger and Angola to pick up the remaining slots. I'm tempted to ask, and I want to come to you first, Wisdom. Do you think that the performance of the nation's football team is a reflection of the current affairs of the country or the state of Ghana's everything, you know, economy, development, democracy? Do you think there's a connection over there? Wisdom, you have to unmute.
I'm not on mute. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. So I can't say that for a fact, but here's what I can say. I don't think the challenges we have with the Black Stars have anything to do with only the player qualities per se. I think we have some really talented players, but they don't always play as a team. And I also think that a chunk of the problem is with the management of the team. I think we need some serious leadership when it comes to the national team. What other investments can we make to develop young and also local talents? Do we have the right coach and management team? How can we achieve team cohesiveness and begin to see some results? These are all questions that I will explore. I know it's painful, sweetie, for Ghanaians, considering how much emotions we tend to invest or invest in the Black Stars.
Yeah.
So I think it is a matter of national significance, right? To take the necessary actions to reverse the failures of our national team and end our 42-year trophy drought.
So you think it's about leadership?
I think it's about leadership.
Kwame
yes.
Nkrumah, what do you think?
I agree.
42 years, no trophy. And we were once a force to contend with. Exactly. Ghana Black Stars.
Exactly. I agree perfectly with what Doc said. It's about leadership. And to go further, it's about patriotism and the mindset of the very, very talented Ghanaian players. If you look at the 4 times that we have won the AFCON, 1963, 1965, 1978, 1982. 82 was the fresh PNDC era. I suppose that was a time of great upheaval. I mean, no one knew what was in store for the country. So people were driven to go the extra mile for this country. You can be as talented as anyone, but on the field, if you don't have that strength of mind that you are fighting for your country, you're not going to win the match. If you look at 1978, in the dying days of the Achampon era also, there was a bit of hope. I think this was a few years after the Palace coup. But then, significantly, during the CPP era, Ghana has won the AFCON 4 times. And of these 4 times, 2 was during the CPP era. What does this tell you about the kind of leadership that Kwame Nkrumah brought to this country? 1963 and 1965.
Are you saying that if the CPP comes to power next year, Ghana Black Stars would magically improve?
You will be surprised.
Okay.
Because you know, in every party,
right,
there's a certain mindset that rubs off on you.
Okay.
You know, the CPP is a party of voluntarism, is a party of patriotism. And I mean, this is empirical evidence. Okay. Ghana has won AFCON only 4 times, and 2 of those 4 times was during the CPP era.
Right.
Ghanaians should know, this should show Ghanaians that the only party that can take Ghana back to its glory days is the CPP.
Bernard, Do you agree or disagree?
Is it when my brother was talking? When my brother was talking, he mentioned about management. I thought he was going to talk about the
management of the football team.
Exactly,
yeah.
But you know, quickly I realized he jumped to political management. I mean, that is what he was talking about. But you see, we've allowed politics to take center stage of our football, and that is what is killing the Ghanaian.
Yeah.
And that shouldn't be the case. Two key things, because you see, when Party A comes, there are people who believe they are part of the political party that is in government, and they feel they can manage the Black Star very well. Now the question is, do they have those skills to manage it? Or because they feel their political party is in power, they should be given that mandate to go and mine the Black Star? You see, I think we should take politics out of such things. We should do that, and then look at it as a property of Ghana. You understand? Ghana, not a political party. This is for Ghana, not for PPP, CPP, NPP, or NDC. We should handle it from that point of view.
Your government is in power. I'm curious to know what your diagnosis is. I mean, what do you think is the problem? What's happening there? Let
me just be frank here. You see, NPP, we do not own the Black Star team. Before NPP or the government that you are telling us that we are in government because, I mean, I don't know how you're going to put it, but before we will get somebody to manage the Black Star, I think there will be a lot of consultations.
You talked about, the reason I asked is because you said we are over-politicizing football,
Absolutely.
or, you know, the leadership over there. And I'm saying that your government, your party is in power. Does that feed into the over-politicization?
No,
are you doing it? Are you guilty of the same charge that you say is the reason we are experiencing this drought?
In a way, I would say yes. Because when I'm in government and I own a football team, my party or my government is in power, I would love to push
your people there.
My people there.
Okay.
You understand? Same way when NDC comes, it's going to happen. CPP comes, it's going to happen. But when we are taking those things out of our football, I think it's going to help us. And then we look at who qualifies, who can help Ghana.
Okay.
Not who can help my team make money.
All right. Let's do some other stories now. Let me quickly run through the Daily Graphic. Kenya Senate opens impeachment hearings against Deputy President. That is on the international front. There's an editorial for Teenager Dilemma, Notre Dame Cathedral grounds. To get 55 million euros green revamp, US warns Israel it will withhold military funding. Multi-pronged strategy required to address declining oil production. Let me get into this story. So the country must adopt a multi-pronged strategy to efficiently deal with the declining crude oil production. A member of the Public Interest and Accountability Committee, that is PIAC, Constantine Kujeji, made a call and explained that the multiple strategy should be focused heavily, editor take note, on economic diversification, sustainable exploitation of petroleum resources, promotion of renewable energy, and the development of local industries. And this was on day 2 of the technical consultative workshop in Accra yesterday. And Mr. Kudeji said he was a keynote speaker. He stated that while the country was adopting multiple strategies, it must also ensure sustainability of its upstream oil and gas industry, embrace the global energy transition, and build a resilient economy. This is Ghana, and we're experiencing declining crude oil production. Let me add one more story to this, and then I'll come to you, gentlemen. Tame greed, stop galamsey. That is Central Regional Minister is saying. The Central Regional Minister, Justina Marigood-Hassan, says the public must tame greed and selfishness across societal spectrum in order to stem the wanton destruction of the environment for good. She said, while the government and the president had made efforts to provide alternative livelihoods for people engaged in illegal mining, such as interventions, in some cases been refused by the targeted populations because the efforts were not, quote, get-rich-quick interventions. Although this is not the story, I do want to ask you, gentlemen, what do you make of the president's, should I say, call or dare to the former president, John Dramani Mahama, to be direct? All of a sudden, we're hearing the president speak or wax lyrical on galamsey, and it's not that he's acknowledging the many demonstrations and strike, industrial actions and fights, and many, CSOs, Ghana Medical Association, Ghana Water Company, and the call for immediate action on illegal mining. But asking somebody who's not in power, and I want to start with you, Bernard, that Mahama should be direct. What is President Akufo-Addo trying to say to us? I listened twice now, and he's all, what is Mahama saying? He's talking on one side of his mouth, the other side of his mouth, but you are the president of the republic. What are you telling us?
In terms of what?
In terms of the fight against illegal mining in Galamsey.
What do you see?
On the back of all the activities that we've seen so far. In fact, I just saw a story about Bakavoma being granted bail. It's also stemming from that. It was a call on the people, the 52 people who were arrested, who were detained to be released. He's not touched on any of these things. Rather, calling on a former president, I find it interesting.
Was he
How
arrested?
do you find
Hold
it?
on. Oliver, was he arrested because of protesting or speaking against Galamsey?
He was arrested because he, should I say, did something that was wrong while protesting.
Okay, then that's fine. If you admit he did something that was wrong, and he was arrested.
He demobilized a lot.
So the fact that you've agreed that he did something that was wrong and he was arrested, that's fine. So we can leave that one.
So everything else doesn't matter anymore.
No, the fight against Galamsey.
6 days of protest. There's no comments from the president on that. And then he goes to France 24 to say he's not responsible for that.
Then you are not telling me that the president sat on France 24 and he comments. I mean,
I'm saying directly to the people of this country.
But he was speaking to all of us.
And he said that the former president should speak directly on Galamsey.
Absolutely.
But has he spoken directly on Galamsey?
He has.
What is he saying?
He told the good people of Ghana that he's going to fight Galamsey. Even if it will cost Akufo-Addo, his government, he will do that. And you can attest to the fact that what is happening today. I mean, look, the military men and the people that he has dispatched to go and fight those people over there. Do you know how much we are spending? You have no idea. You could have used those monies to build roads, hospitals, and those stuff.
He could have used what money?
The money that he's using to push those, is it the military guys and the security agents to go and fight those Galamseyers out there.
Wow.
You understand?
He could have used that to build roads.
Exactly. But assuming that this thing is not happening, I mean, you can attest to that, right? And he's the president. You can't tell me that he's not fighting against Galamsey. He's doing it. That is why he's calling on John Dramani Mahama, who also wants to come back. That, okay, look, it's a national call. Speak. You have supporters as well. When you speak, they would also listen. You get the point.
Okay, I'll circle back to you.
Very well, that's fine.
Kwame Nkrumah, what do you make of this? There was also the story about declining crude oil production, but we can come back to the next. Yeah.
I would say that I like the way Bernard cleverly paused and sidestepped the issue and tried to turn the heat back on you. I think it is unnecessary. I admire His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo a lot, especially as a legal practitioner. I always say that I draw inspiration from the cases that he has done. A very, very competent lawyer, and he's done his bit as a president. But regarding the Galamsey issue, I think the NPP government has failed abysmally. I mean, we all know, even just this morning, I was reading a story where the anti-Galamsey task force, made up of small-scale miners themselves, they had no military men, they had to go out and burn, is it 40-something, is it called shangfangs, and you know, they had to go out and they were actually mining on the riverbed. As we speak, this is just yesterday or 2 days ago. So where is the fight? Where are the military men? Ghana may be big, but if it was something else that was in the interest of the NPP government, the military men would have been there in a twinkle of an eye and stopped it. Look at our water bodies. When you are flying over this country, I mean, especially long trips, you are flying to Tamale, you look down at the country, and it's like somebody has sprinkled chalk on our forest. And it doesn't go only for Galamsey. Just a few years ago, I was driving to the Seshi areas. Unfortunately, my Google map failed me, and I ended up in the middle of a forest somewhere. And illegal logging. And when they saw me, they left their truck and fled. So the wanton destruction of our forest is not just Galamsey. There's illegal logging. There are so many things happening, and this country has been destroyed completely. I don't think the call for President Mahama to
speak directly on Galamsey
is not necessary. It's not necessary. It's just a diversionary tactic.
Wow.
And to say that he is prepared to, even if it will cost his government, I mean, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. The fear is that there's a fear that it will cost his government if he fights it. That is why he's not fighting it.
Wisdom Dogbe, you've been quiet for a while. Let's bring you in.
I think we need to speak truth to power, right? When it comes to Galamsey, I don't think about current leaders. I don't think that they have enough credibility to point fingers at all. They should own up to this menace that they've brought upon, or they've allowed to fester and become something like a canker on the nation. I think that greed plays a big part in the lack of desire and also urgency we see from our leaders in their approach, to solving this menace of illegal mining. And that's why I commend the clergy and the labor unions and those activists who continue to mount pressure on our leaders to develop some courage and address this menace. We need to continue mounting pressure until our leaders take meaningful action to address this. And I appreciate some of the actions the president has finally agreed to take, including deploying the military and revoking I think it's 2462 to stop mining under forest reserves. These are all very necessary, but I hope he declares a state of emergency as well, Sweetie. I believe it is time for the president to declare that state of emergency. That will enable the government to enforce much firmer measures to address the issues with the urgency it deserves. This is a matter of national security at this stage. The very livelihood of our people, the good people of Ghana, is being threatened.
Wisdom, are you saying that even in the face of that deployment of military personnel to the various rivers and water bodies where people are illegally mining, and I have to confirm whether or not it was laid in Parliament yesterday, but they are trying to repeal that LI that grants permission to mine in forest reserves. Even in the face of all that, are you saying that he should still declare state of emergency?
He has to declare state of emergency, considering the impact of this, right? Look, our cocoa exports is declining from 2011 up until now. It continues to decline. And this year, we expect that will continue to decline. And do you know what that means? It will lead to budget deficit for the nation. And why is that? Because the farms are being destroyed. The forests are being destroyed. The cocoa plantations are being destroyed. And they worry that declaring a state of emergency will cause them to lose sponsors or donors, and probably the election. Isn't that saddening, sweetie? South Africa had the same problem a while ago. Same issue we call Galamsey. In South Africa, it is called Zamas. And in 2019, I believe, President Ramaphosa, he declared a state of emergency around Zamas. And then he deployed the military in what they call the Operation Prosper. In their own case, there was the political will, which is what you need to effectively fight a menace like this. Our leaders don't have the political will. They are looking at and they are favoring electoral fortune over the destiny of our people, including the health of the nation in the long term. What is more saddening than that, sweetie? So it's more talk, like I'll put my presidency on the line. It is time for him to live up to his words. And I think the president and his cabinet, they woefully failed Ghanaians when it comes to Galamsey.
I had him explain what he meant by that. He said that NPP lost many seats in the areas where there was Galamsey in the 2016 or 2020 election. And what he meant by saying he would put his presidency on the line is that even if it meant that losing his political ambition, he would do that to, kept this menace that now has escalated. So I don't know what we make out of that.
That's what the issue is, right? We are now thinking of Galamsey in terms of how many parliamentary seats that we get to lose. As we speak, we have babies that are being born deformed. Okay, like I said, cocoa export is declining. Galamsey has a part to play. We have tourists that come into the nation, and we can't even, every year I come to Ghana, I will come with people that have never been to Ghana before, and I'll take them around. There are places in Ghana, I can't take them now because the water is so bad, the whole place looks like a horrible junkyard.
Well,
these are the things that are affecting the nation, and we are calculating this in terms of politics. We should put politics aside and solve this once and for all for the people.
Thank you. On the back page, we have nation makes progress in malaria elimination. And let me get a bit into this. The country has made significant progress in the fight against malaria, the Ghana Health Service has said. It said deaths due to malaria reduced from 2,799 in 2012 to 146 in 2023, while malaria prevalence had also declined from 27.5% in 2011 to 8.6% in 2022, reflecting the effectiveness of prevention measures. I think this is good news if indeed the figures are accurate. But let's get into your papers now. I see you have two papers. Kindly pass me one. But Kwame Nkrumah, let's start with you.
Okay.
What paper do you have?
I have the Daily Guide here. And at the front page, we have the DVLA opens new Accra Regional Office. And regarding that story, I think it is good news. As somebody who's driven for some years, I can say that year on year, there's been a lot of improvements at the DVLA. There were times that even to renew your license, you have to go early in the morning and go in queue. But now to renew your license, it's just a matter of minutes. So I suppose that is one area that, as much as we always criticize the government, we feel once in a while you have to commend them for a good work done.
Once in a while, or when they do something good.
Yes, I believe regarding the DVLA,
right, that
is fine. And then we have Nana endorses Bawumia. I don't see why this should be a headline story. Well. You know, I mean, who else will he endorse? Who else will he endorse? But then again, it's just politics. Then we have East Legon crash. We allowed our son to drive, Salifu Amwako.
Yeah, the police picked up both he and the wife yesterday. Yeah.
It is a very unfortunate incident. I was in the vicinity with my wife and children, went for a wedding. And on our way, we actually saw the accident scene. And it was so gory because of the children. We drove away because we couldn't, I mean, look at it. Only for me to discover a couple of days later that one of the fatalities was somebody I knew. Oh. Yes, so even yesterday I had to visit the family. And Bishop Salifu Amako is somebody that in the 90s, I visited his church a few times. And his wife too is a friend to somebody close to me. So whichever way I turn, whether on the part of the perpetrators or on the part of the victims, I know somebody. And having witnessed the accident scene, it's something very sad. And well, I think the law should take its course. As much as, I mean, he's a man of God I admire very much and all that, the law should take its course. And, they shouldn't have allowed...
bail, actually. Yeah.
Yes, he shouldn't have allowed his son to drive. But I have full faith in the judiciary. And then there's also... Napo addresses Memphis University. Well, I suppose Ghanaians abroad also have a right to vote, and if he's out there canvassing for votes, it is a good thing. All the political parties, they should stretch their tentacles outside the shores, because Ghanaians abroad also need to be given a reason to come back, not for the kind of brain drain that has happened in this country ever since the 1966 coup. Before then, people were offered foreign citizenship, and they used to turn it down. You know, Ghana rather used to attract people. People were attracted to the Ghanaian passport, but now everybody is outside.
Someone could argue that they still come back. It's still attractive, but only in December. The enjoyment.
Exactly. And
Anyway, is there one story you want to really get into?
Yes.
Okay.
I suppose one story that also came to mind is the issue about
this is a big story right now.
Yes, the EC disqualifying the Amenfi Central NDC parliamentary candidate. It is a development story, and it also, I suppose, aside that one too, we have the 4 NDC parliamentarians that my own former lecturer, Honorable Haruna Idrisu, is calling for them for their seats to be declared vacant. And for once, I would say I side with my former lecturer, Professor Okwe, that this is an action that has to be taken by the party. It is the party that fields the parliamentary candidate. This is not a debate for parliament per se. It is a party that has to move forward. But regarding the Electoral Commission's actions in disqualifying the candidate,
details emerging actually show that injunction on the basis for which this disqualification was actually withdrawn. And so why really has this person been disqualified?
Exactly.
And, well,
exactly.
You can read a bit of the story to bring our audience up to speed.
So it says that the Electoral Commission has disqualified Joanna Jan Kujo of the NDC. And by a statement from Mr. Samuel Tete, it said that it follows a pending order of interlocutory injunction restraining the Commission from recognizing Mrs. Kujo as a parliamentary candidate of the NDC, and that their attention was drawn to it dated May 2024, May 31st. And it says that until the final determination of the matter, the affected parties are restrained as follows. That is the NDC parliamentary candidate from holding herself out as a parliamentary candidate. And it continues on page 6, and that their agents and officers, that's the EC, from dealing with any way or affording any rights or privileges to the said candidates. Over here, as much as the EC has been doing a very good job over the years, I think that an interlocutory, I've now heard that it has been withdrawn. But even if it wasn't withdrawn, an interlocutory injunction is an interlocutory injunction. It is a temporary relief. Yeah. It is not a permanent relief. The court did not order that she's not fit to be the candidate. So I think in this sense, the EC going ahead to disqualify her, they jumped the gun a bit. They should have rather held on with processes regarding her candidacy. They could have kept it in abeyance, because between now and 7th December, we have about, I suppose, 40-something days. So I think that the EC jumped the gun a bit. But fortunately, 7th December is not upon us yet, and they can reverse their decision and make sure that justice serves its purpose, especially in this era of affirmative action. Yeah, it should be taken a closer look.
I want to find out what Wisdom thinks about this disqualification from the EC, and the conversation about have they jumped the gun, and was this all really necessary at this time? Wisdom, have you been following the story? What do you make of it?
Yeah, I think it's quite unfortunate that she has been disqualified by the EC. Or let me say it this way: why are some of these litigations now resolved much quicker, right? To clear the path for the candidates to effectively run a meaningful campaign. I think it's so late in the process to have these unresolved issues like this, right? Which I think may end up favoring the other candidates if this is not resolved pretty quickly. I even have a concern with the incumbent MP, Peter Kwache. Yeah. I don't think he's good sport at all. He lost his seat and decided to run as an independent and remained a thorn in the flesh of the party that gave him the platform. I think it's a grave political dishonesty, which to me questions his integrity and, of course, loyalty to the party that he says he's now willing to collaborate with to win power. I don't think.
Meanwhile, Bande was saying yesterday on PM Express with Kojo Brace that the party don't even want them anymore. Wants Kwachiaka anymore.
I think that should be the posture the party should take on him. Now, back to this disqualification, I think it will set a legal precedence, regarding candidate eligibility, influencing how similar cases are handled in the future, and potentially leading to changes in the maybe in the electoral laws and also regulations. And I also think this move can affect voter perception of the candidate and the party. You'll be surprised to see that some voters may see Ms. Kudjo's legal challenges as a sign of her being unfit for office, which I believe is not true. And as I mentioned, this almost certainly guarantees an advantage for the opposition. You're going to see her opponents seizing the opportunity to criticize her and highlight the disqualification in their campaigns. And I don't think that is fair to her one bit at all.
Thank you for that submission. Let me come to Bernard. I like how you started.
It happened to me.
I am critical.
Yeah, it happened to me in 2020. I was disqualified when I made an attempt to contest Attah. It happened to me. And mine was some kind of act. Let me put it that way. Was an act. So I shared their pain.
An act?
Yeah.
From who? By who? To who? What's the act?
That is an internal arrangement. So let me just put it an act. But so I shared their pain. And yesterday I listened to Honorable Kwachiaka. You know, he's one fine gentleman that he has helped the NDC so much. You know, when it comes on air, you know, he speaks. And then once I was with him on Adom FM. And then he made a very good remark. And even we from the other side, the MPP, were so happy. And someone who is an incumbent seeking to be re-elected and you come again, you come and you say we've disqualified. It tells you there's something in there. Yeah. It's either they don't like him or that is the leadership do not want him to come back, or I mean, he did not pay his dues well and they just don't want him there.
Well,
so it wasn't anything. It's
let's
just,
do some other stories.
I
remember hearing Samson Ladiaineni saying that it is bad. It is very bad. Yeah. This move from the EC, it is bad. How are they going to navigate and get out of this, you know, bad situation they've plunged themselves into? Let's do your papers now.
You know, I started laughing. This is my paper. If you tell me to rename this paper, I'll have my own. I'll call it agenda paper. But anyway, that's...
You can do the stories on the front page.
Okay, anyway. Okay, so that is High Court's... holds,
is that the new...
that is the New Republic.
Okay.
Yes. So the High Court holds ballot printing amidst Mona's legal battle. I think he was also disqualified.
Yes.
And...
Mahama has jumped to his defense. People are upset.
Since when did Mahama become a lawyer?
Oh, he was just speaking about it. He's someone seeking to be president. I see
condemn Kweku Buahi, telling the good people of Ghana that they
are. We have 4 minutes to go.
I agree. I just want to clear this. Mahama jumped in defending Bernard Mona and PNC. When did Mahama become the president? Become a legal advisor to these people? Do
you have to be a legal advisor before you speak out on an issue that you think or you have an opinion on?
When we have an issue, national issue, pressing issue, being a Galamsey, Kweku Buahi, coming from his political party, who in fact was a former national officer, and he is, sat on national TV, said they are going to encourage the people doing the illegal mining to do it more, to win them more votes. Have you heard Mahama talk about it?
Let's do your paper now.
Anyway, you see Mahama gallops ahead in polls, leaving Baumia behind in NPP's race. I mean, well, that is what...
Who ran the polls? Does it say?
No, he didn't tell me.
Okay.
Yes. So, I mean, that is the kind of political links that they wear, political gloves that they wear. That's how they will see it. It's even more of a fake coup plot. Former ACP Benjamin Agozu exposes despotic regime. Anyway, that is how he also put it. And I think this was a legal battle. And, you know, the law is the law. It is what it is. So if they put it this way, you know, I am not going to go much into this because it is very critical here with this. Me, when I'm talking about something and I see the coup d'etat, I try to be very careful. Talk about it. You understand?
I want some context. Also for the sake of our viewers. Just read the story. Just read excerpts for us.
Okay.
To give us.
So, Okay, so it says generated from trumped-up accusation of treason and abetment. Former Assistant Commissioner of Police ACP Benjamin Agozo is poised to unveil his memo detailing the tribulation he endured during the alleged coup conspiracy involving unconventional weaponry like a kitchen knife and homemade pepper.
Okay, I think you should just get a copy of the paper for yourself and get into it. Let me just end with this, the political digest. I'll just do the headlines. Napo leads girl child education crusade. Baumia best to succeed me, says Nana Akufo-Addo. Baumia remarkable example of decency, according to Professor Sikanku. And voting against NPP would be huge mistake, free SHS beneficiaries are saying. On the back page, oh, we don't have any stories here. So, folks, I'll give you each a minute or 40 seconds each to give me a wrap of your thoughts. I'll start with you, Wisdom Dogbe.
So I think the free SHS policy is one of the, if not the main policy achievement that came out of this administration. But there are issues with it, right? It has to be reviewed. It has to be improved. So on that front, I think I will give it to the president, His Excellency President Akufo-Addo, for what he's done for the country. As far as free SHS is concerned, no government would want to repeal it. So I want Ghanaians to understand that it will be improved upon so it can serve a better purpose. But quickly, you did mention on an international news that really I found very interesting about the Kenya Deputy President impeachment. I think it is a significant move for impeachment proceedings, to be brought against Vice President or Deputy President Rigathi, I think his name is Gachagua, to remove him from office only 2 years after he was elected on a ticket with President Ruto. I think it is a significant political and also constitutional event with a lot of implications, really. The courts look at the evidence and declared the impeachment proceedings can go on. He's facing 11 charges, including corruption, inciting ethnic divisions, and undermining the government. He denies all of them, by the way. We need something like this in Ghana as well, where we can hold our leaders more accountable when it comes to corruption. Now, as we know, President Ruto has been silent on the issue, and I suspect it is because of the recent fallout between both men. Both of them, yeah. And I also think that he is likely not going to prevail in this impeachment proceedings, really.
Okay, thank you so much. We do have to go with
10 seconds. Yeah. 10 seconds. Thank you. 10 seconds. 2/3 of Kenya's 67-member Senate, they voted in favor of this. They're actually going to vote for this because of everything that is alleged against the vice president. Right. And the reason I think it's likely not going to be succeeding this is because the lower house voted against him, and the opposition will come together with the ruling party's senators, and they will get him out. That's my opinion on that issue. Thank you so much. 30 seconds each, please. Let's wrap up.
Thank you. I'll just touch on 3 things quickly. Regarding the Kenya issue, I was also following it yesterday, and apparently the vice president's constituency brought majority of the votes that brought the government into power. So people are saying that if the vice president is going to go, then the president too should go. And if you follow it, it looks as if this was just somebody who was used by the government to get into power. And I agree with Doc that I don't think this will succeed. And secondly, about Napo leading the girl child education crusade, I think it's a step in the right direction. Okay. I was following the NSMQ, and NUST SHS won, Adventist came second, and I think it was Sewakoto Senior came third. And one of their teachers was saying that because they came against boys, that is why they lost. I thought that was a very inaccurate, thing to say. The girls should be encouraged. You can imagine how other girls there would look at. And finally, also, my final words is, my brother's first was about the need for peace. I agree with him. Peace should be at the forefront of all our deliberations this election.
Ghana wins election 2024. Bernard, wrap up your thoughts for me.
Okay, so mine is going to be based on the free education, the free SHS. I think Nana Akufo-Addo and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia when Nana Addo Akufo-Addo started his move to become a president, he started with Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia, and they sat to agree on things that when they become a government, they will be able to do for Mother Ghana. And one of them was free education. So it is their baby, and it is our baby. We gave birth to it, and then we know how to manage it well. When we were even touting free education, NDC under John Dramani Mahama was saying it is never possible, it can never materialize. But hey, here today, where are we? We are here, and free SHS is running. Now, they come back and they say they started free education. What we are telling the good people of Ghana is, look, free education, it has come to stay. John Dramani Mahama and NDC are saying when they come, they will cancel it. Now, we are...
Did they really say that?
Oh, yes, of course. They said it.
But that's all that time will allow us to
really?
do. I think what they're saying is that they started with progressively free education, and
they were the same people preaching against the free
gaps
education
we have in the efficiency.
No. But if you started something, would you preach by saying it is 419?
Thank you all so much for joining us for the news review segment. I have to say this. I've seen 2 promos, election campaign videos so far. From the Baumiak team, they're saying that Mahama wants to come and remove free SHS, so don't vote for Mahama.
He is coming to remove
it. And then Mahama is saying that we are not coming to remove free SHS, so vote for us so that we can fix the issues in there. It's an interesting time.
I give birth to my baby. And
thank you so much, Wisdom Dogbe. He's a financial analyst. Kwame Nkrumah Bosio is the General Secretary of the CPP. And Bernard Odonyako is leading member of the Dr. Baumia's campaign team. Gentlemen, thank you all so much for joining us for News Review. Please stay for sports coming up next.
Thank you.